Welcome to Third and Long Podcast. Today we have Akash Gupta Verma, Tripp Thomas. In the other room we have Madden doing the audio, and me, the host, Zane Fry. Let's start with the Thursday night game.
Yeah, first off, podcast. I'm happy to be back, making my return.
We'll be rotating around who's going to be in a lot, so I'm always going to be here, but the rest of the cast is going to be different, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's good to be back.
Okay, Bills Dolphins. What are our impressions, boys?
Dude, what do we think about Tua?
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
he's not coming back. If I was him, I'd take the
Yeah, I know. 6 concussions, dude. I think I heard it was 6 from NFL and college.
Yeah, he didn't look good when he wasn't hurt though. Like he played bad.
I know. Okay, look, I think he's talented. I think it's early in the before his head exploded. It was early in the year, and like he was gonna be fine, going forward. But I think when he is healthy, he's an elite QB. I don't think there are any questions about that.
I don't know about elite.
I think he's elite because he led the league in passing yards last year.
Before he was injured, right? Didn't he miss a decent portion?
I'm pretty sure he had like 4,500 or something like that. That was.
I was thinking he was in that category of the elite guy, but like, there's just some off. He's missing the key factor.
Something's definitely off now.
He's missing the moxie. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the key thing.
I think he has moxie. He looked like Drake there for a little bit. That's aura.
I mean, the Bills were able to win this game handedly. Josh Allen looked great, but he didn't even have to try to win.
He was on the bench. Just
appreciate for
smiling.
A second though that the Dolphins were favored in this game. So for all you bettors out there, and I had my dad put some money on this game, that it was I think it was minus 2.5 for the Dolphins. So I don't understand the bet, what. I mean, Vegas obviously is not wrong a lot.
I think it's mainly because they viewed the Cardinals as pretty bad, and they had a really close game with them the week before.
But this early in the season, and look,
they also lost their 2 best receivers in the offseason.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it's dangerous to bet against Josh Allen and a defense that's largely unchanged.
And I think James Cook looked elite. That guy was so good in that game.
He looked really good. Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns. He had over 100 yards.
The only thing though is, and this is something that I've struggled with a lot in fantasy, and it's something that I'm trying to evaluate now, is how do you characterize one big run? So James Cook, I think he had 80 rushing yards in that game, something close to that, but 50 of them came on one run. Yeah. Right. So his yards per carry looks really good, but you take that one run out. How are you supposed to evaluate that? Because I don't think the home run run is very
I think
reliable.
The good aspect about his game was that he also scored 3 touchdowns. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, he is. He
had a receiving and 2 rushing. Him, right? So yes, he may have not run for a ton of yards, but his yards per carry were great, and he scored. So you really can't ask much more from the guy.
The yards per carry to me is a good stat to see if a fantasy running back is legit or not. And if 30 of your yards come on 15 carries, and one goes for 50 yards, and then your line looks pretty good at the end of the day. I don't know how to evaluate that.
But it means he has breakaway potential. He has good blockers in front of him.
Yeah.
And you can say, oh, it's not going to be consistent, but you don't know that. If a guy gets touchdowns, then the team's looking at him to score. So
yeah.
it's
I would rather a guy who breaks one every once in a while than a guy who gets 3 every time or 4.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys remember, but Dalvin Cook's last year being pretty good with the Vikings, that whole year he would have those 1 or 2 big plays that would salvage his fantasy day. But for me, at least, that whole year it felt like he was right on the edge of a cliff, right? And then the next year he just completely fell off.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. That's how I see Derrick Henry, but he rushed really well this week.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's another thing.
Let's push into that game.
He had I think a 30-yard rush that really saved his line. Yeah. At the end of the first quarter, he had -5 rushing yards. Yeah. On 4 carries. I was freaking out. I have him in fantasy, so.
I know the Ravens lost to the Raiders, which is a huge loss, especially with how they have the toughest schedule in the NFL, bar none by one team. To them to be starting the season 0-2 is not a great place to be.
It's good for us though.
Oh, it's great for Steelers.
Oh yeah,
I'm very happy.
You want to introduce your sports allegiances a little bit?
So I'm an A's fan.
Sigh.
And then I root for the Steelers, and so
I converted them back in the day.
it's a good start. 2-0. Obviously, our offense is kind of.
Where do you think we should sit at quarterback?
I mean, Justin Fields. He had a rushing touchdown, right?
He passed to Darnell Washington.
Oh yeah, there was a touchdown to Darnell Washington. I don't know. I mean, the game before, we had 6 field goals that we won off of.
This week we had like 4.
I mean 4. I mean, I think like it doesn't matter. Like if our defense is playing well, then we're playing well. I mean, we have a win against the Broncos are kind of mid, right?
Yeah, and the Falcons. I thought
Falcons
the
were
Falcons
supposed to be
were
all
mid,
right,
but they had a great win this week.
Yeah.
So the Falcons
I
should be
mean,
all
we'll
right.
talk about that later.
should not have happened. But look, I think it might be, as an Ohio State fan, it kills me to say this, but I think it might be time to let Russ cook. Just because I have not seen a lot of positive things from Justin Fields.
Is he healthy now? Is Russ healthy?
It's on the edge. They don't know. The hard thing to me about this game and Russ's Fields' stats is at the moment he has the highest QBR out of any quarterback.
Fields?
Yes.
How? He just avoids turnovers?
Yeah, he hasn't had any turnovers.
Yeah.
He plays really good. Like, for example, I think we had 12 offensive penalties last week, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And, like, there was an entire drive where Broderick Jones, I think, lost 50 yards of offense, where Fields threw 2 touchdowns that were called back by penalties last week.
Seriously?
Yeah. So when you look at him and you're like, oh, he didn't have any touchdowns, it's like, he did. They called a holding on nothing, and they called a pick on the receiver by, like, he got in the way of, like, the defender coming, which is like, come on.
Yeah.
That's football, man.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, we're looking for a franchise quarterback, right? And we thought it'd be Kenny franchise, but it was not Kenny franchise.
It was not.
And so, like, you look at Justin Fields, and honestly, you look at Russ. Like, Russ in the beginning of his career was kind of like a rushing quarterback. Like, he was
he's
versatile in the pocket, right?
He's 4th all time.
And that's what Justin Fields is. I mean, he's a guy that knows how to run around the pocket, like Michael Vick.
You're
right?
preaching to the choir right now.
I know, but what I'm saying is we get Russ in there, and for this year, maybe next year, we have Fields training under Russ, becoming prime
I
Fields.
completely agree.
That was
I think that's
making
great.
Fields
thought
like
was
Russ.
the whole reason we got both.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to.
But Russ was injured.
You guys
injured,
got
so
both
it's
for
tough.
pennies on the dollar. You got Fields for a 6th round pick, and like as a Bears fan, that's kind of hard to stomach. But it's hard to stomach. But you know, I think like the reason that we did that is because we wanted him to have a chance to succeed elsewhere, and like Pittsburgh was a place where he had a chance to do that. So like as a Justin Fields fan, I like that, but you know, as a Bears fan, I'm kind of torn.
And right now, every rookie QB that's starting, they're struggling.
Yeah.
It's hard right now.
Yeah.
And Fields got put in that same situation, and we're at the point now where he got put out raw. We put him back in the oven. We let him cook for a little bit.
Let Russ cook. Let Russ cook.
Fields, yes. And then when he's ready to be served, because at the end of next season, both Fields and Russ are on contracts at years.
Yeah.
We'll sign probably him and not Russ.
Yeah, but I mean that's the goal. I mean Russ is a veteran. We want a guy that's training under a vet, and that's what Fields could be.
Yeah,
he could be our franchise.
Do you guys think? Because I saw this like expose or whatever the other day. It was like the veteran QB and like young QB duos like the best all time, and you have like Favre and Rodgers and Brady and what's his face. Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe, yeah.
But like Favre, like Bledsoe completely embraced Brady, but Favre completely rejected Rodgers, right? He didn't see that as his job. I don't know if Russ is gonna embrace that rule.
Yeah, that's true.
Though I low key could see him like doing something corny, bro.
Russ is
he is an unk, dude.
Yeah.
He's bald.
Yeah.
Well, one of those quarterbacks I never realized was Mahomes. Sat behind Alex Smith for a while. And then when he came
Alex Smith, dude.
Yeah, he got the short end of the stick everywhere.
I know. And he was so talented.
He was so good.
I don't know. I don't really know nothing about that. I'll be real with you.
His leg is horrible to look at. I
know.
Speaking of Alex Smith, who was on the Niners losing that game is bad. I was looking at power rankings. They're still number 2.
Yeah.
They didn't move at all from losing to a pretty mid team.
Okay to me. That feels okay.
I mean, they're missing CMC. I mean, if you're adding CMC back in,
CMC.
okay.
He has CMC.
If you're adding CMC back into the equation, like
It's not like Jordan Mason's not putting up numbers. He's
Yeah,
first in rushing yards
true,
right now, I think.
I feel like CMC's is a big part, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. CMC isn't healthy. I mean, Mason's good. I don't think he's CMC. And then also, Ayuk isn't fully stretched out. He dropped another touchdown this week. So, I think
Antonio
power
Brown.
rankings are trying to project talent, like, in the future, right? So, I still think, all things considered, the 49ers are the second best team in football, for sure. Even though that they lost. And power rankings aren't trying to evaluate, like, playoff chances.
Yeah.
The Ravens are still at 3. I think 3 is high. I honestly think the Lions are more talented.
The Ravens are not.
The
at
Lions
3. Ravens
also
are
lost to a...
I know.
I think they should have lowered also. I was checking and they didn't move either.
Throw the ball to Sam Laporta. Oh my God. I like just stupid to me. He's so talented. I have him on fantasy.
He has like 2 catches.
I know.
It's okay.
So hard. So stupid. But yeah, no. Baker though. Baker picked up right where he left off. 4 touchdowns week 1. Nice little rushing touchdown week 2. He's got swagger. I like him.
He has it.
Yeah.
He has what Tua doesn't have.
I know Derek Carr's doing well. He has aura.
Right?
He has aura. I saw TJ walk at a sack purely with this aura.
Yeah.
He didn't even touch the guy.
Explain that to me. How did that go down?
He didn't even like touch him. He just like kind of looked at him and he fell over. It was awesome. TJ's the best player in the world.
You don't want to get hit by TJ. That's just
Sacked him with his third leg.
It's a business decision. I don't think
if I'm next, I'm looking at TJ. I'm sitting down.
If you're playing QB and you see TJ Watt running at you, I'm curling up in a ball.
Dude, I remember Drew Brees used to do that sometimes. He would just take a knee in the middle of the pocket. He would like feel it closing in on him. Just take a knee.
Oh, Tripp, I was looking at it. When I beat you in fantasy by 0.04 points, Purdy's last play, he lost like 6 yards.
Yeah.
Because he just like kind of fell down.
We don't have to talk about that.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Braylon Allen.
It's over.
Braylon Allen.
My fantasy season is done. Puka's out. I have a terrible draft.
Puka's gone.
Oh, no,
my only hope is Ramondre Stevenson.
Hell no.
Hey, he's been doing good.
He's not good. He's not good at football.
Dude, are the Patriots good?
Yes.
No.
Ramondre Stevenson is good. That's all.
They beat the Bengals and they went to overtime with the Seahawks.
Nope.
I never realized
Jackson Smith and Jigba, Ohio State product.
I never realized how important a system was because I thought the Saints sucked.
Oh, I know.
I still don't believe they have the talent to be what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they implied a new system, and I keep seeing videos. They're like using play action more than anyone else and stuff. And they scored almost back-to-back 40 bombs.
Kamara this week.
Yeah.
They need to stop feeding that man the ball.
I love Kamara. He's my greatest draft pick last year.
Yeah.
He's like that.
Out for half of the year.
Y'all always sleeping on him.
I had him Christmas Day.
Exactly.
That was a great day.
God. Didn't he get a Madden card for that?
Probably. He had 60 fantasy points. It's like one of the best performances ever.
People forget when Mixon did that, and they took him out in the third quarter.
Oh my God.
That year.
I had Tyreek when he had I think he had 40 points in the first quarter.
Was that the phone help?
It might have been.
Help game?
He was still in the Chiefs.
different leagues.
Yeah.
Because I had Tyreek that year on that day. I remember that. I posted on my Instagram story.
I was like,
he had like
crazy.
The first quarter. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Is this real?
Dude, I remember I was going against Grant, and Grant has been on the podcast. Yeah, you guys know Grant. And it was a Monday Night Football game, and I was up by like 30, and it was the game that Tyreek caught that touchdown that nobody thought was a touchdown. It like popped up in the air.
They didn't call it a touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
They didn't call it a touchdown.
Caught in his legs, right?
Yeah. Or it like
caught it against.
They didn't realize it was a touchdown until after.
I won. He would have won if that touchdown had counted.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was thanking Allah for that.
As a resident Bears fan,
yeah.
How do we feel about Caleb?
Dude, week 2, we had this debate in our chat.
Oh yeah,
that was a brain rot discussion, dude. Oh my God.
Zach versus Rashiel.
Yeah,
I like messing with Rashiel.
Once the true Zach personality comes out on the podcast, like I heard he was a little reserved week 1.
He was a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He'll get going.
Yeah, exactly. I know he'll get going, but oh my God, give bro a chance.
Yeah.
Like Jesus.
I agree.
I know, but like I feel like rookie QBs never perform. Like if you like look historically, like who's a good rookie QB?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, he performed.
Ohio State brought him.
But like let's look last year. Who was the rookie QBs? Anthony Richardson, he was good, but they got injured, right?
Yeah. Stroud played good.
Love. Well, no,
Jordan,
Love was.
That was his first season.
Yeah,
but I
wouldn't
think
say
he was a rookie. Yeah.
Um,
Stroud is considered one of the best rookie QBs ever. So
yeah, exactly. And he wasn't even he wasn't number 1 QB. No, he was
No.
like top 10.
He was a legitimate MVP contender for most of that year.
Yeah.
But my point is, I agree with you, Kosh. You got to give him time. It's your first NFL game, first 2 NFL games of all time.
And did you guys see the
It's a
Tom
different
Brady
level.
thing about how football has been dumbed down and that's why development isn't as good? Like before, like in Tom Brady's era, rookie QBs would never start their first year.
Yeah. Because it's a different system now. It's the same thing with like running backs. You don't get franchise running backs anymore. You got a guy for 4 years, and then all you do is you develop your own line, get a random dude for 4 years, don't pay him that much money. Contract extension comes up, get him out there.
I know.
But the problem is, to get one of those elite quarterbacks, you have to need a quarterback really bad. So it's hard to let him play behind someone if there isn't a guy to play him behind.
Yeah,
that's why.
But that's why Justin Fields is going to be.
Okay, I was just about to say that. I have conflict with the Steelers method though, because they're consistently like high class mediocre. Is how I would put it.
Well, we're not mediocre.
You guys
mediocre
barely
would be
sneak your way into a playoff spot.
But we're in the playoffs. Don't because it's
but
your rhetoric. Your rhetoric is off.
Of winning.
Your rhetoric is
No,
off.
I think he's
You
right
have
on
no
this.
chance of winning, and like that.
We almost beat the Bills.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but you didn't. So
But you
cares?
said you have no
They
chance
cheated
of
us
winning.
by moving it to Monday because there was too much
Exactly.
snow.
Oh my
They
God.
knew we would
I've
dominate.
heard you make this argument before.
Conspiracy
The Bills were
theory.
winning that game. It doesn't matter. They were the favorite. But either way,
It doesn't matter if they're
either
favorite. We
way,
still gave ourselves
you
a
guys
chance.
are like ignoring the fact that even if you beat the Bills, then you go on and you lose in the next round, or you lose in the round after
We
that.
would play the
and you
Ravens.
guys-
What is
you
this?
guys
What
are
if? You're what ifing your way
compromising
through your
draft
argument,
picks.
bro.
You're completely compromising your draft picks. You guys consistently have a mid to high draft pick in the wrong direction, like the 10.
The NFL draft
with
is
it.
historically
The Steelers are
inaccurate.
one of the best teams at
you
drafting
guys,
in the
you guys
entire league.
obviously do good things with it, but you miss out on like the cream of the crop QB or the cream of the
But
crop.
it's
receiver.
inaccurate.
With our first
It's
and second round
inaccurate.
pick, we've gotten 2 tackles, or we got a tackle and a center who have both started for the team and haven't allowed a single pressure or missed a run blocking assignment.
That's fine. But I think that
Joe Alt
that
is amazing,
premier talent,
but at the moment
like
we're doing the same
Matthew
thing.
Stafford's, the franchise QBs. You guys got Ben, right? You guys got Ben with a high draft pick.
I think it was
right?
like 8. So.
Yeah, top 10, right? Then after Ben is gone, you guys have had this continuous carousel of mid QBs.
But Ben was the 3rd quarterback drafted that year.
I know, and like look, right? If you guys didn't have that top 10 pick, you probably weren't getting him. That is what drafting a high caliber QB in the first 10 picks can do for your franchise. You get a franchise QB, right? Now you guys Ben retired, right? Nothing you can do about that. He was amazing for you, right? That's great return on a draft pick.
Top 10 QB all time.
Exactly. I completely agree with that, right? But now you guys cycle through Mason Rudolph,
Mason Rudolph was
I have
never
hope
a
for
starter.
Justin, huh?
Mason Rudolph was
he was
started for
starter
1
over
year.
Kenny.
Started 1 year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right after
Right,
Ben.
and then you guys got.
But that was when Ben
Kenny
was
Pickett
injured.
with a later first.
We got
round
Kenny
pick.
Pickett with
Yeah.
Ben. Mason Rudolph was never meant to be a starter. He
I
started
know,
1 year
I know,
because
but
Ben
what
was
I'm
injured.
saying is because you guys didn't have that high class of draft pick, you weren't able to get a franchise QB. Kenny Pickett, you guys got in the latter part of the first round,
It's the
right?
franchise.
Yeah, it's not Kenny franchise.
Kenny franchise.
That's what I'm saying.
We didn't treat him
losing
right.
is part of the cycle, right? You
Yeah.
need to rebuild. The Steelers have perfected the art of maintaining at like 65%, right? You guys are not ever a
What you're
dominant
saying is
team.
right, but I think you're not saying it correctly. So, what's the difference between us getting 7 wins instead of 9 and picking 5 picks earlier? We're not ever a bottom of the league team, so we're not going to get a bottom of the league thing.
What I'm saying,
it's
though,
illegal
is
to
that you
fully
need-
tank in the
You
NFL.
need to be a bottom of the league team at some point in your 10-year progression, right? Look at the Lions. The Lions are a great team right now that went through that period of just horrible football play, right? I don't know if they went 0-16. They went maybe 1-15.
Yeah, but there's another argument.
The Texans.
There's
the
another
Texans are
argument
another
for this.
team.
Let
'Cause
me
the problem is,
push to you the Giants that won 2 Super Bowls. They were never really good. One of the Super Bowls they went 9-7. The other they went 8-8.
Look at the last 5 years of Super
They
Bowls,
realized
right?
that all they had to do is win 4 wins in a
the
row,
Chiefs have won
and they
2.
get a bowl.
Yeah, okay, but they're completely outliers, right? Look at Tom Brady, right? When Tom Brady was leading his team, they were consistently a 1, 2, or 3 seed, right?
And not
Right,
every team
look-
can be that.
Yeah, I know, but there's a reason he won all those Super Bowls. Look at the last 5 years of Super Bowls, right? The Chiefs last 2 were both 1, 2, or 3 seeds in all of those, right? Who won before that? It was the Bucks. The Bucks were they were 8-0, so that proves that's one in your opinion,
an outlier,
right? Who was before that? Was it the
Rams?
Chiefs again?
It was the Rams one in there.
The Rams, they were high. They went all in that year. They got Ramsey, they got Stafford. They traded away a bunch for Stafford. So what I'm saying is that you need to go through that lull period and build up. Then look at what the Texans are doing right now. They drafted C.J. Stroud with a high draft pick, and then they got a bunch of young contributors and Tank Dell and Nico Collins around him, and then they went out and they signed free agent talent like Stephon Diggs.
For every Texans, there's a Panthers who have been trying to do the same thing, and everything they've done has gone completely wrong.
Is that a problem with the process or a problem with the management?
They went through the same process where they tried to trade guys for picks. They did this, they did that. They traded up to get that number one cream of the crop talent, and none of it worked out correctly.
They missed on it. Right?
They traded McCaffrey, Brian Burns, and there was someone else I know.
I know, and their
in their
draft
prime
process, right? I would say that trading away the guys that they weren't gonna re-sign, or even if they re-signed wasn't gonna lead to long-term success, was the right move. It was the right move, but it just their draft process, who they drafted, stuff like that went wrong.
But
right?
that's exactly the point. The NFL draft is inaccurate. You can look at the stats. Obviously, overall, a higher draft pick is going to give you maybe a little bit of a higher return.
A higher probability of getting an elite player.
But if we have a good guy who can draft, we have Omar Khan, the greatest mind of our generation, drafting for us. And so he can help us. And the other side of this argument is that the NFL at the end of the day is a business. The Steelers are one of the most popular teams in America. That means that we are also making some of the most money. If you look at the Browns, the Lions, people didn't go to their games. People didn't buy their merchandise. They didn't make money.
There's a flaw in your argument.
But as an economist, okay, the Steelers made money. So because we're going 9-7, we're going 9-8.
It's very hard to lose money as an NFL franchise already because the sport is so popular.
But it's not about losing money. It's about making money and making money over time.
What I'm saying is those Steelers teams that are 9-8 or 8-8 and get into the playoffs, sure, when the playoffs roll around, you're gonna have your diehard Steelers fans that are there. But for the majority of the season, the Steelers are a hard team to watch play football. Even the first 2 weeks,
but people still go to watch.
Field goals are not fun.
We just offense is fun. Okay. So obviously we have two new quarterbacks, and the offense hasn't figured out where it's at yet. But it's not playing bad, and the Steelers are statistically top 5 defense. With a defense that's good enough to win you games when you're playing bad, what happens when we actually start winning games because our team looks good?
I agree.
The only way to win a Super Bowl is to be in the playoffs. It doesn't matter where you are in the playoffs.
I know, but what I'm saying is what is the point? What is the point of making the playoffs and losing the first round? And then getting
But is it any different than being 2 games short of the playoffs?
You can't guarantee that we're going to lose.
So what I'm saying is you want to be fully stocked for the playoffs. In my opinion, you want to be fully stocked for the playoffs, or in one of those middle years where you're getting right, your talent is progressing, right? The year 2 or year 3 of a rebuild. Like, okay, the Lions, right? The year before last year, 2 years ago, they surprised people. That was the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Jared Goff played really well. You have David. I think they signed David Montgomery that year.
They signed him last year.
Or it was then it was the Jameson.
It was
Williams
Swift,
year.
right?
It was Swift, yeah.
Yeah.
So right there's talent progressing there, right? So that's a year where it's okay because you're working towards winning, right? For me, the Steelers right now, they're just at a place where it's such an awkward spot to be in. Because I don't feel like they're gaining momentum.
Okay. Wow. Same argument for the Bills. They won a singular more game than the Steelers last year. Every year they win one playoff game and then do nothing with it and are in the same spot, just slightly further in the process.
Yeah, but people would agree that the Bills have a better offense than the Steelers. And I think the
Steelers defense is way better.
Yeah, the Steelers defense is way better. But I think most people would agree with me. The Bills have a better chance to win multiple playoff games and compete with teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals and teams that the Bills have beat in the last couple years.
And the Ravens?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have a better ability to compete with those teams than the Steelers can. Because the Bills have a good offense
last year,
and a pretty good defense.
The Packers, who went 9 and whatever,
yeah,
were a singular half away from doing the whole run, being there. And the Lions, who I think only won one more game than the Packers, also a singular half of football away from going to the Super Bowl. The only chance
those teams are gaining momentum.
Okay, but there's one thing. So how we have 18 seasons of being above 50%.
Yes.
And how many Super Bowls have we won in those 18 years?
2. We've been to 3.
And we've been to 3.
Yeah,
so statistically,
the years that you won those
statistically
Super Bowls,
speaking,
you guys had elite offenses and elite. That was an elite team.
No, but
I don't
Akash.
see the Steelers right now. I don't see an elite team.
Okay, but that's fine. But just specifically speaking, outliers happen and upsets occur. So if you look at a team like who you were talking about before that made a run at it, the Rams, right, or something like that, who put all their eggs in one basket and they make a run at it for one season, 2 or maybe we'll say 2 or 3 seasons, and then they don't get anything out of it. There's plenty of examples of teams who go through that.
I agree.
Who go through that. But the Steelers get a chance every single year. The Steelers get a chance every single year, and statistically, one of those years will work out.
Okay, I have a question.
Because we could have beat the Bills.
Would you rather play for an outlier, give yourself a 5% chance to win the Super Bowl every single year, or have 3 years where you have a 40% chance to win the Super Bowl?
Is it not the same thing?
I think it's completely different.
But speaking from a statistical analysis, does it not create the same effect?
I don't think it does at all, because the Steelers are great. I don't think the Steelers team now can be lumped with the Ben Roethlisberger Steelers. Okay, because that was actually an elite.
But
team.
We've had 3 years without Ben. What have we had?
Top 5 team.
3 or 4 years without Ben
in the country.
He retired in 2021.
So we've had 3 years.
That last year.
So we don't even have a big sample size.
That 11-0 run was kind of fraudulent, and it came crashing down.
Yeah, ball don't lie on those last couple of games.
Yeah. So the whole point of that run was never that we were crushing any of those teams. We just played like the Pittsburgh Steelers and won one possession games at the end. So it was just a bunch of Steeler wins. They were just strung together.
Like prime Ben Roethlisberger, right?
No,
he was way.
I mean, it was. Yeah.
When we're talking about
prime Ben,
when we're talking about prime Ben, we're talking about a Ben Roethlisberger who was leading a top 5 offense in football.
Okay, but let's talk. If we're talking purely talent standpoint, the Steelers have a lot of talent. But what about the 2015 through 18 years?
Yeah, we didn't even win.
When we had an incredibly stacked roster.
Yeah, but
and we were making runs at it.
You gotta separate the process from the result, right?
But I'm saying
the process was right, and just certain outlier things went wrong, like that is Jesse James, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jesse James drop. I'm putting in quotations. That was a catch.
It was a catch.
Right. So certain outlier things happened, right? The perfect hit that knocked Antonio Brown out of that game and the rest of the playoff run.
And gave him.
That actually saved us. We lost that game if we didn't hit him.
No, I know. And then I actually watched the replay the other day. But it's just what I'm saying is you got to separate the process from the result. Right?
But is the result not all that matters? Because
but when the process is right, you give a higher probability that the result will be in your favor also.
But our result returns about the same probability.
I don't think it's true. I don't think that's true at all. I mean, look at the Steelers for the past. What was Ben's last year was 2021. Okay, so the past 3 to 4 seasons, right, have been where you guys make the playoffs but you're mediocre doing it, right? Have you even gotten close to making a run in the playoffs?
Have we made it past the first round yet?
No.
We haven't won a playoff game since 2015.
Exactly.
Or it was 18, I think.
Right? Sorry. This is what I'm saying. So
I know, but we still give ourselves a chance.
Look at the Texans, right? The Texans are doing it right.
But they didn't win a Super Bowl.
I know, but they won a playoff game, and they're gaining momentum.
I think they played a way easier opponent than us.
Nobody remembers the divisional championship or the NFC
you admit that the Bills were a strong opponent, right?
They were stronger. Okay, so if we got to play the Browns, a team that we beat last year, if we won, we would have played the Ravens, a team that we beat twice that year. Those are teams that we beat throughout the season that we got to play in the playoffs. Why do those seasons those are the same wins of teams we have proven that we could beat in football, especially at the end of seasons when injuries are full and teams aren't the same as they were and they are worse.
But there are some where they're gaining momentum.
Yeah, why can't we gain momentum?
Because you weren't. That's what I'm saying. The whole season last year,
we won the whole back half of the season to make
it. It was anemic. It was winning games 9-7, right? 9-7, 10-7.
But we were winning games. Right? I'm sorry, but the result is all that matters.
We were running for 200 yards a game, and our offense looked good the whole back half.
Let's go back to that 11-0 season then, right? You guys won 11 games. Did you feel good about the wins though?
I felt great.
Yeah, I was on top of the world. I was on top of the world.
That was awesome.
We were
Did you
undefeated.
think you were gonna have a perfect season?
I thought we were going to the bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do?
You can't
What can
argue
you do
with
then? What can
delusion.
you
You
do?
can't argue
Hey,
with delusion.
we'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
You can't argue with
So
delusion.
I think we're reaching time. Do you have a game you
Closing statements.
What do you think about next week? Do you have a game you have on your
Okay,
mind?
I'm excited to watch A-Rod on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
I just picked
think
up
that's gonna
Rashid
be
Shaheed, and I need him to do good. So
I want to see if the Saints can keep it going.
yeah, give me
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed all the way. We
I
beat him
heard
in
a
the
crazy
Super Bowl.
stat that J.K. Dobbins has the most yards per carry through 250 snaps or something.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I didn't think he was like
look,
that. We're playing the
He
Chargers
has
this
always
week.
been a talented. I think I'm starting. I have to decide whether or not to start him or.
I think the
Aaron
Steelers
Jones.
defense might eat him alive. But
Dude,
we'll
you guys
see.
have given up the 5th most rushing yards to running backs this year.
This year?
Yeah.
It's also in 2 games. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
All those stats is
I'm
kind
just
of
saying,
sorry.
like
Same thing with
the reason
We really
that-
gave up nothing Javonte, and Bijan Robinson is just really good at
Yeah.
football, man.
Yeah, but
Good
I
old
think
BJ.
Dobbins has the chance if he stays healthy to be an elite running back, like reach that potential. But either way, I think we're hitting our close here. So
Hey, thank you for watching Third and Long. We got a little off track this week, but I think this is a great podcast we had. You guys have anything else to say?
hey, thank you. I really enjoyed being back on. I hope to see you guys next week.
I don't know who's going to be on next week. We'll have to see, but thank you for watching Third and Long. We're out.